Hello there, what's going on everybody? My name is Cole. Welcome to Trans Spirit Indigo. Much like you, I'm a soul having a human experience. I happen to be transgender. I'm glad you're here right now. Thank you to everybody who has been liking, commenting, subscribing. Please make sure to do that. Help me to grow this channel. Let's grow it together. I love connecting with everyone. I am creating a safe space for everyone who wants to be here, but particularly also for anybody of the LGBTQIA spectrum, people that are on a spiritual journey, people that get into more of the esoteric side of life. I'm here for you. Thank you for being here for me. In this video, I wanted to just give a message about what has helped me to live a happier life as a transgender, male, non-binary, as a queer person. It's been quite a long journey, but I discovered the secret for myself in the past 4 months, and it seems so obvious, but I didn't get it for a really long time. Self-love is everything, because self-love equates to self-esteem. Now, if you're looking at your life and you don't like where it is, you don't like what you're doing in school, or you don't like what you're doing as a job, or you don't know what to do as a job and you're not making any money, or just, there's lack in your life, lack of love, lack of money, lack of good times, any of that stuff. As obvious as it might be, and I know a lot of people already know this, but for the people that haven't discovered it yet, the people like me who have just recently discovered it, and I want to share it because I really hope it helps somebody, because it helped me when I realized it. All of those things equate to having self-love, because they equate to self-esteem. To live in abundance, to do what you love every day, to get up and be excited about life naturally, is completely possible and is natural. There is no magic drug or cure or, anything out of your reach for happiness. Your happiness is within your reach, and this is what I'm learning through studying the law of attraction, through studying that, through doing shadow work. Now, this is a big one. I've done some other videos about self-love, but since then I have done more shadow work, and I'm continuing to do it. Shadow work is, in a nutshell, going within, spending some quiet time alone, and pretty much revisiting your inner child, hanging out with them. It will tell you a lot about yourself. And what I realized is that my inner child was very angry and felt very unstable with me as an adult. Now, as an adult, going through about 10 years or so of addiction and not setting solid foundations for myself, it became very clear to me why my inner child was struggling so much to feel secure. And this is some deeper stuff, and I'm being very vulnerable and sharing some very personal stuff with you, but it's in hopes that it helps you to understand this further, because there is a point to all this. There's a point to all this. The point is that if I would have listened to my parents and mentors along the way about self-love and worrying about my own life before other people's, I would have been happier a lot sooner. And I hated hearing that, especially when I was in my early teens and in my teens, and realizing that I was transgender and was angry about it because I didn't really understand what being transgender meant. Thankfully nowadays, there's so much information about being transgender. It's great, and you can develop your own opinion. Another thing I want to mention is that I actually thought that I was practicing self-love not that long ago, when now I realize that I was not fully doing that, but that's okay, because I was on the road. I was on a journey. I was starting to practice more self-love than I ever had. But the thing is, the reason I feel so called out to speak about this is because I will admit to you, and I'm writing about it in my book, very personal stories and tidbits about how deep my self-loathing went in this lifetime. That's something I'm realizing through shadow work, is how much I truly self-sabotaged and have hated myself. Realizing that I've hated myself more than I've hated anyone else. It's like, whoa, why? And it's very painful to realize this, but then it's bittersweet, because it's like the fact I'm realizing it is the fact that it shows I'm growing. It shows that if I can see it, if I can see the self-hatred and sabotage for what it is, I can heal it, I can forgive myself, and I can let go. That's where I'm at, and that's where I would want for anyone else who's in any similar situation. I know that particularly LGBTQ people sometimes experience this kind of deep self-hatred, and it's understandable, because especially the older crowd, and that includes myself, like, no, I don't really think I'm old. I'm not an ageist. Like, to me, like, I'm an old soul. I'm a very old soul, so age, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I have friends that are 75, 76 years old, and I have friends that are like 18, 19, 27, 32. Doesn't matter to me or you. Anyway, as long as they're good people. I digress. So this is just for anyone who's like, I know the older crowd, the reason I mention the older crowd is because we've lived through periods on this earth where it was a little more difficult to be open about being queer. But it's been getting easier, thankfully, and I thank everyone who's played a part in that. It's just, and you know how you do that? Which is by being who you are. Like, anytime you got the rude, ignorant comment from somebody, but you kept being who you were, like anytime somebody made fun of me for dressing like a guy when I was obviously a girl, you know, that kind of BS. Anytime I stood up and I kept doing that, it's like I was taking one for me and taking one for the team. And we all do that, because it's like, so just please remember that too. If you're bullied, please stay strong, because you're doing what's best for you, and that's radiating out into the collective of everyone, just as a side note. But I wanted to share that during shadow work, I've realized how deep the self-loathing and hatred went for me. It's been a lot. It's been a lot to uncover, and I'm still in the midst of it. I'm going to watch this video one day and be like, oh, I'm glad I got through that, because I'm still like knees deep in it, and that's okay. I've been specifically going over this stuff for about 4 months heavily right now, and I've kind of said a few things here and there about it, but since it's been about 4 months, I felt the need to be more direct and just let you all know, like, hey, yeah, I'm going through this shadow work, and I'm realizing that a lot of the answers to my issues in life involve me making that switch from self-hate to self-love, to going within and forgiving myself. Because I've realized too, with the whole subconscious mind and conscious mind, I can't just leave it at, oh, I love myself now, it's all good. I gotta go back, I gotta go inward, because you can't go back, but you can always go inward, which is a lot like going back. You can go into those memories, you can think of those awful times where you've been hurt verbally or whatever, what have you, and forgive, because that's how we heal. It's not always easy, but it's well worth it, in my opinion. The more I've done this, the more I've seen self-esteem build. I thought I had self-esteem. I get up on stage, I play in front of strangers. People think I'm not nervous. People think I'm an extrovert when I'm really more of an introvert. You know, I'll get up and play guitar and sing in front of 100 people and be like, whatever, it's cool. But I realized my self-esteem is still very low, and I could see that because of other aspects of my life. Like, it was draining out into other areas of my life. And that's the thing also that I need to mention to you, is that self-love is so important for so many reasons, And the biggest thing for me is because it leaks out into every angle and aspect of your life, your finances, your relationships, all of it. So when you hear these adults being like, you gotta love yourself, like, they're telling you this for a reason. They don't want you to go through what they went through. I wouldn't want you to go through what I went through, as far as hating myself so much to where I self-sabotage my own life. And then I started attracting people in my life that they would be nice to me, and they, you know, I had friends that would help me with stuff, but a lot of those friends, like some of them in particular, were very toxic and mean and would kick me when I was down, and then say stuff like, oh, it's to make you feel better, like just gaslighting. It's called gaslighting, like just fucking with people's heads to make them feel better because they're hurting inside, because their ego isn't healed. You see, I attracted people who also had low self-esteem issues. So now that I don't do that anymore, now that I am practicing love, I've been aligning with these beautiful souls that encourage me, and I encourage them. You know, you will see it reflected in your outer reality, because your inner reality reflects your outer reality. So the more you love yourself and you practice self-love, whatever that means to you, it could be a gazillion different things. There's no right or wrong, rigid way to practice self-love or meditation or anything. I'm doing my best to not be so rigid. I've been very rigid before, especially when it came to like veganism. I got very rigid and I wasn't happy, so I stopped being so damn rigid. And sometimes I eat dairy and my stomach doesn't like it, but I don't beat myself up for it, you know, and I just do my best. That's just a side note, but I'm just saying, like, this is an example, is rigidity in life is no fun. Is no bueno. It's good to still have fun in life. And that's part of self-love. Embracing that inner child. Your inner child will dance around. Well, the child version of you. You know, when you were a kid, you dance around, you play pretend. I'm looking out right now and just imagining my inner child skipping around, looking all happy. We become more crunchy and angry as adults. We go through a lot. We go through puberty. We go through, you know, your 20s can be a very confusing time because you've never been an adult before, but you're not a kid anymore, and you're just like, what is going on? And then you get into your 30s, and I'm really digging my 30s, but that's just me. Anyway, I wanted to hop on here and send that message out with love to everybody. I just want you to know how incredibly special and unique you are. Everybody is unique and special, and everybody has a purpose here on earth. And there's just like, there's so much I want to say, but I gotta just, you know, make other videos. The main reason I made this video and why I make videos, I guess it's the motherly, fatherly part of me that I don't exercise in this life, because I don't have kids and I don't plan to, even though kids are beautiful. But I feel the need to share because I've lived a little more life at this point. I wanted to make videos when I was much younger. I remember when I came out as a trans guy in 2004, and I went to a doctor who's trans, and at the time I was just starting my whole alcoholism thing. And I said to this doctor, I want to help people. I want to help people get through this. And he said, well, you're going to have to help yourself first. And my ego was so mad because I knew he was right. But my higher self, my higher consciousness knew that I could get here to this point. And I'm here now, and I'm so thankful, because I just want to share the mistakes that I went through and experienced, in hopes that maybe it will inspire you to not make those same kind of mistakes, such as the self-love. I haven't really mentioned in this video how to practice self-love, but I guess it's a personal thing, whatever that means to you. That could be just doing things you love every day, doing the things that excite you, making sure to fit even in, you know, half hour of time into the day, whether it's playing an instrument, that's what I love, or reading a book, or whatever it is you love to do. That can be self-love. Pushing yourself to get out of bed when you're feeling depressed. at self-love. Sometimes staying in bed and resting when you're tired is self-love. Following your heart and doing what you're meant to do is self-love. Setting boundaries with other people is very much self-love. That's something that I did not understand till recently. Setting boundaries is so incredibly important. I'm going to leave you with that. I love you all. Please leave a comment below. I always love to hear from you. Let me know how you feel about this whole self-love thing. How important do you find self-love to be? Have you gone through long periods of time not practicing self-love and then now do and see a dramatic difference? I sure as heck do. I hope you are as well, seeing all the goodness that is. See you next time.